Not.
All right, we'll talk to Schefter at the end of the hour here. According to my source,
Says.
This was the response that was sent to Brendan Sorsby from the league. Dear Mr. Sorsby, we are in receipt of your petition for special eligibility, dated June 16th, 2026. As announced earlier today, the league has elected not to conduct a supplemental draft this year. Under our collective bargaining agreement, the league retains sole discretion to determine whether it is appropriate to conduct a supplemental draft in any given year. The league has not conducted such a draft for several years, and prior to your submission, the league had no plans to do so this year, as no other player has sought entry. Your petition, filed 3 business days before the deadline without any supporting information or documentation, and only after abandoning your recent litigation efforts to avoid NCAA sanctions, does not provide a basis for the league to alter those plans. The issues presented by your petition are too significant and too closely tied to the league's core integrity interests to permit meaningful review within the timeline presented. The sole reasons identified in your petition for seeking entry into the supplemental draft are that you have been declared ineligible by the NCAA, have exhausted all of your avenues to continue in the NCAA, and want to now play in the NFL. The petition provides no information regarding the basis for or timing of the NCAA's decision. Public sources, however, indicate that in May 2026, the NCAA issued a determination declaring you permanently ineligible from participation in college athletics, based on a sustained pattern of improper gambling activity during your collegiate career at 3 different universities. The league does not have the complete record of the NCAA's investigation, and you did not provide any such materials with your petition. Available information nonetheless indicates that over the course of your collegiate career, you knowingly engaged in repeated and significant violations of NCAA rules designed to preserve the integrity of athletic competition. Reported conduct includes placing wagers on your own team and teammates, and to avoid detection, establishing or funding accounts in the names of intermediaries who placed the bets on your behalf. There are also reports that you may have violated state criminal law. Your petition does not address these matters, nor does it demonstrate accountability for your conduct or indicate whether or how you would adhere to the league's rules and policies governing the integrity of competition. Instead, even after receiving notice of the NCAA's decision rescinding your college eligibility in May, you sought to avoid the consequences of that determination through litigation rather than accepting responsibility for your actions, and you pursued entry into the NFL only after abandoning those efforts. As Commissioner Goodell has emphasized, participation in the NFL is a privilege that carries with it significant responsibilities, including accountability. By all accounts, you are a talented player with the potential for future success. We encourage you to focus on preparing for possible entry into the NFL through the 2027 NFL Annual Draft. Sincerely, Lawrence P. Farazani, Jr.
Wow.
Joining us now, how did we get to that point? Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schefter.
Schefter.
The NFL essentially sent him a letter, and the NFL is declining to hold a supplemental draft. And honestly, something was amiss with this all along, because every time you spoke to people around the league about when the supplemental draft would be and whether or not there would be a supplemental draft, I always got pauses, and there were never clear-cut answers. And like, oh, the commissioners got to decide to have it. I'm like, what is the issue? Well, the issue is that the league, despite any gambling partnerships, the league really does not want any part of gambling, no matter how serious it is or isn't. And anybody that has any role with that, anybody who has any accusations involved with gambling, even though the NCAA said that there were no integrity of the game violations, the league doesn't care. It's the league's supplemental draft, and the league does not want to create a supplemental draft this year for a player who has been accused of gambling. They don't have enough time to vet it. They don't care that they don't have enough time to vet it. It's easier for them to just say, we're not doing this. We don't want to do it. We're not making an exception for somebody who admitted to bet on games of a school that he was at, even if he was in his dorm room and the team was on the road at the time. And so right now, Brendan Sorsby is shut out. He's ineligible to play in college football. He doesn't have an avenue to the National Football League. The next time the league wants anything to do with him would be in the 2027 NFL draft. Now,
Maybe,
I think
it said, maybe.
Okay, well, I think Brendan Sorsby is now going to challenge this legally. But what option is he going to have? They're not going to have the supplemental draft. It's going to come and go. The league's just going to kick the can down the road. And Brendan Sorsby is going to, I think, wind up spending this season, maybe beyond, this season, certainly, out of football, watching and getting ready for what he hopes would be the 2027 NFL draft.
Okay, Schefter, quick, just 30 seconds here. UFL possibility here for Sorsby? Is this possible, or what do you think about that?
You know, Pat, it's a great question because we haven't seen a player recently in this situation where he's denied entrance to all the league. Like, he could have made a lot of money playing college football. He could have made a lot of money in NFL. College doesn't want him. The NFL doesn't want him. Now, the question is, does he want to just train and get ready for his future NFL career?
We've seen before.
Does he want to go to Canada or the UFL or somewhere that deploys his talents and pays him some nominal fee where he's risking an injury?
Yeah,
Dude, like, what if you go play in one of these injuries and suffer a significant injury? Is that worth it?
Steelers Nation, this changes everything. Because if Pittsburgh was even thinking about Brendan Sorsby as a surprise post-Rodgers swing in 2026, that door just got slammed shut. And now the question becomes even bigger. If the Steelers cannot make that quarterback gamble right now, should Omar Khan use that urgency somewhere else, like the secondary? That is where Rasul Douglas enters the conversation. Now let's be clear. Rasul Douglas has not signed with the Steelers. Nothing is official, nothing is confirmed, and Brendan Sorsby has not been drafted by Pittsburgh. In fact, after the NFL declined to hold a supplemental draft, Sorsby's path is no longer a 2026 conversation, it is a 2027 conversation. But this is exactly why the Steelers have to be smart, because the Sorsby situation is about the future. It is about risk. It is about whether a talented quarterback can rebuild trust, wait his turn, and maybe re-enter the NFL conversation next year. But Rasul Douglas, that is about right now. That is about this season. That is about helping Patrick Graham's defense survive the AFC. Graham is officially Pittsburgh's defensive coordinator, and his defense is going to demand communication, disguise, experience, and defensive backs who understand what is happening before the ball is thrown. And Steelers fans know exactly why that matters. We have seen games swing on one busted coverage, one third and long conversion, one missed assignment, one moment where the pass rush does its job, the quarterback panics, throws the ball up, and somehow Pittsburgh does not come down with it. That cannot be the story this year. Rasul Douglas would not need to walk into Pittsburgh and be the face of the defense. That is not the point. The point is veteran insurance. The point is ball skills. The point is having another corner who has played meaningful NFL snaps, understands leverage, and knows how to turn pressure into takeaways. Because if your pass rush is going to attack, your secondary has to finish. That is complementary football. And that is why this conversation matters more after the Sorsby news. The Steelers can still study Sorsby for 2027. They can still send scouts, gather information, examine the background, and decide later whether he is worth a draft conversation. Aaron Rodgers is on the official Steelers roster at 42 years old, so yes, Pittsburgh's future at quarterback still matters. But while everybody waits on tomorrow, Pittsburgh still has to protect today. You do not waste a win-now season by leaving a fixable weakness exposed. You do not sit around waiting for a future quarterback while Baltimore, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City keep attacking every matchup they can find. The AFC does not care about your long-term plan. The AFC cares about who can cover on third down. The AFC cares about who can survive 2-minute drills. The AFC cares about who can turn a rushed throw into an interception when the entire season is on the line. That is why Omar Khan should at least make the call on Rasul Douglas, not out of panic, out of preparation. Because smart teams can do two things at once. They can monitor Brendan Sorsby for 2027 and still improve the roster for 2026. They can think about life after Rodgers and still give Rodgers a defense that can actually close games. They can protect the future without ignoring the present. And that is the real message here. The Sorsby door may be closed for now. The NFL made that clear. but the Steelers still have choices to make before the season begins. Do they wait and hope the secondary is good enough? Or do they add one more veteran piece and make Patrick Graham's defense harder to attack? Steelers Nation, I need to know where you stand. Should Pittsburgh keep Brendan Sorsby on the radar for the 2027 draft? And should Omar Khan call Rasul Douglas right now to reinforce this secondary? Because Sorsby might be a future mystery, but Rasul Douglas could be the move that helps Pittsburgh win this season.